The attack on the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on his attendance of the Limuru burial was so uncalled for, and whoever person who did organize that, whether he is pro-government or tries to portray a certain picture, is taking this nation way back beyond the democratic space that we already have. I believe by now so many people have watched those clips, and if you haven't watched them, then here is a glimpse of what I'm talking about. This is something that is so uncalled for, and the area MP for Limuru is also alleged to have organized these groups to disrupt Rigathi Gachagua from speaking or from attending the said burial. Unfortunately, his vehicles were speeding so much that they couldn't stop him before he could reach the venue of the burial. It is alleged that the MP for Limuru was the person behind organizing these attacks, and at the point whereby he reached at the venue of burial, he didn't want to sit at the VIP tent. Actually, he declined to sit there and otherwise went to sit in the other tent with the common mwananchi, where he was seen doing various calls and texts like trying to organize and mobilize on something. Few moments later, two buses arrived with youths, rowdy youths, whom the best way to describe them is goons, who went straight to the VIP tent, uprooted it. Even some took those metals that are the stands, trying to injure the former deputy president, who again was able to be whisked to safety. Is this government so afraid of someone who is not already in power? What are they afraid of? Are they trying to curtail the freedom of speech for the former deputy president? How is Ruto and his allies, I could call them sycophants, so afraid of Rigathi Gachagua that they will do anything? Like in Swahili wanasema kwamba uwezi ukabishana na nguruwe katika mchezo wa matope, manake kwake yeye anajiosha, lakini kwako unafanyaje? Unajichafua. So that is it. Senator Dan Manzo now claims Ruto used a lot of money to mobilize persons to attend the Kisumu rally that we saw the other day in Kondele. Now he says this money could otherwise be used in so many stalled projects in the country. Let us listen in to how Senator Dan Manzo argues his point.
Was seen mobilizing these crowds, dishing money out for those who will come to the meeting, and those, of course, who are not given money were shouting Ruto must go in the same meeting. That money would have been used to build roads in Syokimau and in Kisumu, but it was being used in politics. The money Ruto has used to go to Kisumu, if he really wants to help Raila, he should have been himself in West Africa. Because you see, this campaign for Raila to go to African Union is the voters are presidents. And only President Ruto, protocolly, can really approach other presidents of Africa to campaign for Raila. So he sends Raila on a journey where he's going to meet foreign ministers and prime ministers without meeting presidents, wasting time and money there. Instead of Ruto himself going to campaign for Raila Odinga, he goes to Kisumu thinking he'll get the votes of Kisumu. I want to assure him that the vote of ODM is not assured.
Bob Owino, Embakasi East MP, has also weighed in his criticism to the government and especially Ruto by saying this shift and share introduction is a big government scam, saying that Ruto is taking things too far for those who are actually criticizing the government with state sanctions abductions and also extrajudicial killings. Let us listen in to what Babu Owino got to say about this.
Zakayo ametuletea kitu inaitwa shi na kitu inaitwa sha. Kwa hivyo inaitwa shi sha. Zakayo ametuletea shi sha. Zakayo, shisha imelewesha watu. Wananchi hawezi ishi anymore kwa sababu umewalewesha na shisha. Toa shisha, hatutaki moshi. Hata mimi niliwacha kuismoke huko 2020. Si ni hivyo? Kwa hivyo hii shisha pia inaumiza Wakenya. Huwezi ingia kwa mifuko ya Wakenya na unaingia kwa mabavu. Wewe ni mwizi wa mabavu. You should be charged with robbery, with violence. Mtu akikataa akamatwe. Mtu akikataa awe abducted. Mtu akikataa anauliwa, anapotea. Jamani, hii ni maisha gani?
Church leaders have also continued criticizing the government over unfulfilled promises and a culture of lies, saying that the government is now not able to contain criticism and therefore deciding to intimidate the church by sending him characters that are not well known into the church with the purpose of trying to intimidate the church leaders. So when they want to speak, they really got to be very careful with what they say, lest they be abducted or end up like other people who end up being dead and dumped in rivers or in a forest. Let us listen in to this church leader as he says so.
We are concerned by the way church leaders are intimidated by security agents and strange people seen during Sunday services. There are people who come to church, they don't identify themselves, they are suspicious. And this has happened lately when the church has come hard on the government. That's when we have started seeing visitors. We are concerned that some of these visitors are not genuine. They are kind of trying to sell fear, so that if I'm in a church and I would want to speak, when they look at me, I'm very careful of what I'll say. So that has been reported, not necessarily.
There are various things that a dictatorial government does when they begin to lose popularity with the people. The kind of things that we see this government doing. One, lots of promises that are not being fulfilled. Two, a culture of lies that, it is so obvious you could tell that even the next thing that a leader is going to say will be lies. And you see, they merge both the government and the opposition come into bed, and therefore there is no leader who will come and actually speak for the common mwananchi. And if there are those who are speaking, will be met by extrajudicial forces that the government is sanctioning against them. Now, it is the same thing that we are seeing with this kind of government, trying to curtail your freedom of speech, the freedom of movement. We saw even the other day when a foreigner, the leader of Uganda, Kizza Besigye, being abducted in our soil, in Kenyan soil, and the authorities here claiming that they never knew anything about that. Yet the authorities over the other side saying that they were in connection with the authorities. Therefore, one would ask, how safe is Kenya? Is it now the heaven for abductions, for international abductions? Like the local ones are not enough for you. You want to appear in the public realm as a nation where safety is not a priority. What are you trying to send in terms of a message about this country known as Kenya? Therefore, we see it is a totally failed regime. The Kenya Kwanza is a failed regime. And therefore, I'll tell you this. Later on, back then we did want Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. But now the Makanga is already gone, who was regarding Gachagua. Now, if the Makanga is going to help us to bring the driver down, absolutely, we have to support that. That is why if Rigathi Gachagua is working towards making sure that they go down with William Samoei Ruto, then he will get personally my support, because at the end of the day, we want those people down so that we get leaders who can vote for the better livelihoods of the people who have people's conscience in the heart, people who have the interest of the common mwananchi in their heart. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in DURB Radio. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press notification button, so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. If you're watching from our Facebook page, kindly follow our page for regular updates. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, DURB Radio ndio mpango mzima.